This week, we are going to engage in a conversation looking at once you have norms established for teams, how do we go about unpacking them to deepen our understanding and really use them to solidify how is it that we go about collaborating? So as we get started, let's maybe take a moment to break down why norms. We often hear that come up, and we often share that early on in the process of developing really rich cultures of collaboration for us, we didn't necessarily see the role that norms would play. After all, we were a school where people got along, they worked well together. So let's start with, why do we want to be able to establish norms, even if we're a staff or a smaller team that already are working effectively together?
So when we develop norms, the whole purpose behind it is that we can articulate how we work together and what I need as an individual and what you need as an individual, and what are our common requirements, if you want to call them, for working together, and being able to clearly articulate that and agree upon it. And when we have those clearly laid out, then it becomes a guide for how we function together and how we determine that we're going to operate together.
So actually, as I reflect on that, it actually, in the case that I shared off the start with a team that is working in really effective ways, it actually shouldn't be too hard for us to come to norms, because we're just going to clarify, what do we already do that seems to be working effectively for us?
But the process for developing them is really important to think about. So you don't want to have a leader name 5 norms and bring it to a team and say, okay, here are your norms for working together. But what we want to be able to have is that opportunity for everyone to name their own, and then to find those common threads between the whole team.
So, but in this particular example, we could even be doing each person on their own, identify what is it that we do when we come together that leads to high degrees of impact for us. So really, the idea of establishing norms is that we move away from assumptions to clear articulation. And then as we have transitions, it helps us to clearly reinforce what have we felt are important, bring in the voice of newer people, but again, making it super clear. Then we also talk about, in team meetings, being able to not just each time they're on the agenda, read them over, or that we're going to read every one of them and then say, good, we covered the norms, let's move on with the important work of our meeting. We want to be able to say, all right, if there's one that we could look at today or reflect upon, or even, I think in our next week's episode, we'll focus in on different ways that we can make the norms fun that we're utilizing. But being able to just reinforce one as we're engaging, and we'll throw a blog posting into the notes that shares some ideas around how to reinforce them over and over again.
The other nice thing about being able to have those norms, and once you've clearly laid them out, your team has agreed upon them, then if there does end up being some issues on a team, then you can come back to the norms to have the discussion about the concerns that we're facing at this time. And it allows you to have those difficult conversations, but in conjunction with the norms, not with the person.
Right. And so this really segues beautifully into that idea of how can we be proactive if those situations to occur by unpacking our norms. So one of the things that we often suggest for organizations is, once we have the norms in place, we should be able to say why. Why is this norm important? And we have one colleague that quite often, when she's engaging in this work with schools, will say, we believe X, or we will X, fill in the blank. So we will be solutions focused because, and then they state the why is that important. So sometimes it's even something as simple as, we will be present and engaged because everyone's time is so valuable and we need to respect the time that we have together. Sometimes just putting that simple why is so critically important, so that we know Why is that norm important?
Well, and sometimes we just skip right past the why, and the why is critical to understand the importance of having that norm there. I think the timing as well for unpacking your norms is important to consider. So if you have just developed your norms, then you want to be able to use them for a while before you start to refine or really unpack it. So give it some time to be able to explore and use those norms, and then you're going to make some adjustments going forward for sure. But that unpacking allows us to really think deeply about each one of our norms, what they mean, and what would it look like.
So if we should have mentioned before that when we go to that co-creation, we've often said we want to get everyone's ideas, but not try and wordsmith that as a large group. That one person's going to take that away, or maybe a small little team to come up with the words, bring it back, and just make sure, have we captured the essence of what we were talking about before? Okay, so we talk about the why. Then I think it's critically important that we have a chance to say, when we're living this norm effectively, what will we see? So when we've said we will be present and engaged, what we will see is we will see people making eye contact with one another. We will see people arrive before the start time. We will see people with their materials available and ready before we get started. Just coming up with the clarity on what does it look like when we are successfully adhering to that norm, I think is really important.
Yeah, and on the next step to that is what will we not see then? And just exploring, being really clear about what does it look like and what does it not look like, so that it creates that comparison and helps for clarity.
And again, the purpose of that is, again, just when we say engaged, your understanding of engaged and my understanding of engaged may be very different. Very, very different. For you, engaged is participating, materials ready, everything else closed down. For me, engaged is I'm here, aren't I? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So being able to get to that space where we all understand those norms in a common way is really important in order for it to actually be functional within your meetings.
So I think the next part that we're going to say is probably the most advanced. It's the most difficult to get to, but it's where we see real power come into the collaboration. And that's when we've defined what will we do if someone breaks the norms. We'll be right back to continue this episode. Do the people in your organization function as a group or a team? We used to use these words interchangeably, but discovered there's a significant difference when we operate as a group versus when we operate as a team. So, what's the difference? Access the Are We a Group or a Team activity to engage your staff in understanding if they are functioning as a group or team, part of our Collaborative Leaders Toolkit series. In this workshop guide, you'll clearly define the impact of working as a team and the conditions necessary to establish those effective teams. This workshop guide is yours for only $9, and you'll receive everything you need to lead your staff, including workshop slides, participant handout, step-by-step instructions for leading this activity, as well as suggestions for next steps and possible extension suggestions. Go to bit.ly/J group team to access, or search for it under the resources tab on jigsawlearning.ca to learn more about this valuable resource to reinforce why we need to be working in teams to ensure success for each and every learner. And now back to our conversation. We're human beings. Someone is going to break these norms.
Absolutely.
At some point, and you and I have seen, I personally have led situations where we have norms in place. They're not necessarily being referred to. They are getting broken, and people start to observe that, hey, one of our norms is that we will be present and engaged, yet several people at different points are checking their email, pulling out their phones, whatnot. If we haven't defined what will we do if that norm's not being respected, it often falls back to the leader, people giving that little sideways glance of,
are you going to do something?
This person going to do something about it? And if not, then it just becomes words on a page that doesn't really mean anything. So it becomes really hard for a leader to have to be the one that keeps everyone in line with the norm. And like you said, having them stated allows me to be able to do that as a leader when needed to, but it's probably more powerful when we can have the proactive conversation of when a norm is broken, what do we agree to do?
Well, and really thinking about that in the proactive way is that if we have this conversation with the team ahead of time about, okay, we know that sometimes you get tied up with your students in your class and you can't get here right away. But when that does happen, how do we respond as a team? And we've seen schools engage in this work before, and the first thing is to say, are you okay?
Yeah.
And then the next thing is, what are we going to do about this?
I often share this story of working with a group of principals where we had the conversation of what will we do. We had a norm like arriving on time and engaged or something to that effect. And that was exactly what we had come to is we'll always stop to make sure the person's okay and then ask them to commit to one thing that they'll do to ensure that that norm is respected moving forward. And I can remember when it happened that we had to utilize that as a person came in late and people gave the little sideways glance to one another of, are we doing this? And it was exactly that. It was, are you okay? Yeah, everything's okay. And the person even knew what the next question was going to be. So she prefaced it by saying, and I commit that I'm not going to stop at the school before we have these meeting days today. I got caught and it's something I won't do next time. And so right there was the power of the norm.
Yeah, and I love that example in that, we're going to check and make sure that you're okay first, because it still shows that even though we have this list of norms or rules, that we're still going to move forward with that in a caring way, that we're still cognizant of the fact that sometimes things happen. Sometimes things get in the way. And how do we approach that as a team to be able to really be supportive in the norms going forward?
Well, and we've also seen that's not meant necessarily to be punitive.
No,
it might be that's, again, we'll arrive on time and prepared. If someone breaks that, awesome. You bring snacks next time. Well, that's our response that we will have. If someone's not being solutions focused, we will stop, everyone will take a breath, and then we'll return back. Just simple little things that we can put in place. So with the resources that come along with this, we will be including a unpacking team norms template that we've found to be valuable and some other resources that may be helpful for you. Again, the whole idea of norms is, can we get clarity and articulation? And when we go about unpacking, we're just getting further and further clarity, deeper and deeper ways that we'll be working effectively together. So as always, we'd love to see examples of the norms that you've established. What have been some ways that you've unpacked that? Please share out. We'd love to hear different examples that come from a number of different organizations. And as always, reach out if there's any questions that you have or looking for further resources. With that, we look forward to connecting with you again in the future.
See you soon.
This podcast is a proud member of the Teach Better Podcast Network. Better today, better tomorrow, and the podcast to get you there. Explore more podcasts at www.teachbetterpodcastnetwork.com. We'll see you on the next episode.